If you are thinking of littering in JB, you better watch this to the end because nowadays, littering seems to be more serious in JB than in Singapore. So, in case you are wondering why you have only heard about this recently, it's because there's something new in Malaysia. Now, let's call a spade a spade. We Singaporeans tend not to litter in Singapore because we are afraid that we might be caught and fined. This has been ingrained in us since we were young. Not through housekeeping lessons, but because our parents say that the amma drinking kopi o peng kosong at the hawker centre could be an undercover NEA agent. However, once we step out of Singapore, every square feet on the ground becomes a dustbin. Once I was in Malaysia, my friend even turned to me and asked, "Did you see any dustbin?" Oh, never mind, I forgot. He then just dropped his gohyong plastic packaging on the ground. You might disagree. Your friend? Are you sure it's your friend? Really lah. I know in the internet, when we say our friend, it's usually us. But this time, it's really my friend. No, you're lying. Walao. Why must you have no friend? I was talking to ChatGPT. Yeah, but you get the idea lah. However, this might change. Last year, Malaysia made amendments to the Solid Waste and Public Cleansing Management Act 2007 at 672, whereby it empowers the courts to impose community service orders as an additional penalty, alongside existing fines. This will come into effect from 1st January 2026. Other than to keep Malaysia cleaner, it's also part of Malaysia's strategy for Visit Malaysia 2026, a campaign to improve tourism in Malaysia through various initiatives. But well, as usual, my friend said that it might not be enforced lah. But lo and behold, since the beginning of this year, we are seeing articles like this. Yes, if you are thinking of littering in Malaysia, you better think twice. Oh wait, don't even think about it. If you are looking to advertise your business in this channel, we can help you. There are guaranteed views and many big brands have trusted us. Just click on the link in the description. Since the start of 2026, Malaysia has been on an overdrive to carry out enforcement action against litterbugs through their government agency, the Solid Waste and Public Cleansing Management Corporation, or commonly known as SWCorp. In just the first 2 days of 2026, 120 offenders were caught, comprising 86 Malaysians and 34 foreigners. From 1st January to 8th January, 3 Singaporeans were caught in JB. Their housing and local government minister had said, "We want Singapore to be clean, Malaysia to be even cleaner." The SWCorp officers, which are kind of like NEA officers in Singapore, reportedly blend in very well with the crowd and had carried out operations at areas like Johor Bahru Sentral, an area that people coming from Singapore will usually have to pass by before heading to other parts of JB. In fact, it was reported that the officers even managed to film the offenders littering with their phones. For each offence, they could be fined up to 2,000 ringgit and or sentenced up to 12 hours of community service within 6 months. It's kind of like CWO in Singapore, but the community service also includes screening drain and public toilets. And here's the thing, in Singapore, if you are caught littering and it's your first offence, you will likely be offered a chance to pay a composition fine instead of being hauled to court. But it appears that is not the case in Malaysia, as offenders will be issued an offence notice and a court date will be provided, whereby at the hearing, the offender will be sentenced if he or she pleads guilty lah. On 9th February, the first Singaporean attended his court hearing for his offence. He had littered with a cigarette butt in Kuala Lumpur on 1st January 2026. Interestingly, he had told the judge that in Singapore, we learn not to throw cigarette butts on the floor. In the early morning, I did not see any dustbin. I saw cigarette butts on the floor, so I chose to throw mine on the floor. The man was eventually fined 1,500 ringgit and sentenced to 4 hours of community service. Which now brings us to the next question. Since a person will not be arrested, can a Singaporean who is caught littering leave Malaysia before the court hearing? According to Johor SWCorp, foreigners caught littering are not barred from leaving or entering Malaysia at the initial stage. They can return to Malaysia for the court hearing. But if the person didn't attend the court hearing, the immigration department will be alerted, and the next time they come into Malaysia, the immigration department will know and they may face enforcement action. Therefore, don't be like Dan Ziwei. Dan Ziwei? Someone who runs very fast. Oh, run away from the SWCorp officer ah? No lah, run away from problems very fast. Therefore, if there's any lesson here, this is it. Just don't litter anywhere lah, and you'll be fine. Anyways, as you can see, there are many new rules in 2026, both in Singapore and Malaysia. Do you know that from 1st April 2026, prices of drinks will increase? Watch this and you'll understand. Also, if you want to advertise with us, even as a standalone video, do contact us. Thank you for spending almost 4 minutes with me. I really appreciate it and hope you learned something.